Blue Lock might have changed everything, as in this chapter, we see Hiiori completely playing Loki for a fool as he outdoes him. However, we even see a shot towards the France goal, which, yeah, left me a bit speechless. But I won't say why yet. Alright, starting off this chapter, also called Time to Wake Up, we see Bachira the bee-goat getting ready to start preparing in for his corner kick. However, under him we can see Hugo, who looks right at Isagi, and he once again tells him that if you keep striving to be the world's best striker, then it will lead to Blue Lock being annihilated here, which is a huge aura thing to just throw out and say. But anyway, we see Bachira's aura starts to flare up, but we also see Isagi's metavision mode getting active and ready as he in his head tells Hugo to just be silent, and if he thinks that he can outwit them, then just go ahead and try. Just then, while the players are rushing around in the box area, Bachira gets a smirk as he doesn't do a simple cross in, no of course, not as he instead leaves everyone shocked, as he instead does a side pass, which leaves Charles a bit puzzled and questioning what he is up to. After that, we get to the France goalkeeper, who is called Renoir, who, just to remind you guys, he was trash in the Neo-Egoist League games. But anyway, he tells them that it's not a simple cross, but instead saying that it's a short corner, which I'm so glad that he said, because otherwise the France players would have had no idea. Anyway, the ball sent by Bachira goes to the sadist Hiiori, who gets it right by his feet, and he looks fired up as he tells them to run the signal play. With that, both Rin and Isagi starts to get active and trying to break free from everyone. We then move back to Renoir, who screams that they are up to something, and for them all to cover their marks. Just then, however, Loki decides to ignore that and leaves his mark, which in this case is Rin, and he dashes right to Hiiori at insane speed. However, is it too late? Maybe because Hiiori is already going into a crossing position. But we then see that Loki did manage to get there in time. But it was just the small little detail that he was absolutely tricked by Hiiori, who, instead of crossing it, drags the ball to his right and tells him that he was too late, which is super cold to say to the fastest character in the series, by the way. Anyway, we then see Hiiori almost lobbing the ball behind Loki and towards Bachira, who had snuck up behind Loki. Bachira gets it and looks super fired up as he says totes, which, yeah, I have no clue what that bro is on sometimes. We then move back to Renoir, who, it's actually insane how he has gotten more screen time than some of the Blue Lock players in this match anyway. We move into his head as he says that it's Bachira again. He looks at the incoming monster closely and notes that he is right by the line, but that he won't let him make a close-up shot, which is kind of a respect moment, since Renoir is showing us that he is standing on straight business. However, as Bachira just gets closer to him, he then gets that face expression, like that he is up to something, as he then says that this, when he does something cool, and something cool, it sure is as he passes the ball to his right, instead of trying to do something by himself. Renoir right away looks where the ball is heading, and he is also kind of shocked that Bachira decided to go for a pass away from the goal. But just then we see that the ball was going to the chameleon Rio, who compliments Bachira's pass as he says that he is wide open. But after that, he can feel a grubby and huge hand going across his chest. And it's none other than Hugo, who we need a cool nickname for fast. But anyway, he asks Rio if he really is wide open, as he has him kind of grabbed. After that, Hugo's eyes start to spin like some sort of vortex, as he tells Rio that there is no shooting for him and calls him a copy machine. Rio, right in an instant, looks super crushed, like their whole plan has fallen into shambles. But then, after tricking Hugo for a little while, he gets a super huge grin as he laughs and asks him what he means by shooting. Hey, it's Natsu, mid-editing here, and I just wanted to pause the video to ask you to subscribe if you haven't already, and while you're already down there, why not leave a like as well, and that it's not even the plan. After that, we see that Rio made a pretend shot at the ground and let the ball go past him all the way back to someone else. Renoir is quickly looking at it intensely, as he wonders just why Rio decided to ignore the ball. Hugo also looks back in a second, and someone asks him if he wasn't going to crush him with logic. After that, we see that it's Isagi who is going right to the ball and calls Hugo a second-best bastard. With that, we also see his puzzle pieces going absolutely wild all around him. We then get a close-up of his face where he looks super ready and he says that this is his. But suddenly someone comes crashing right into his body and tells him that it isn't his just yet. Isagi is super shocked and caught off guard, but after that, we learn that it's Charles who tells him that the contrarians are here, and he looks so sick. We then see Isagi looking back at Charles and letting out a sort of sigh towards him. After that, Charles decides that it's his time to start and yap, so he says that whenever Blue Lock uses a pattern that they don't know, they keep a close watch on the most annoying spot. By that, he means where Isagi is, explaining to Isagi that that's his job. Isagi is really shocked by all of this, as in his head he says that there is no way, and that they ruined their first signal play. However, just then, we can see that not all the hope is lost just yet, as right by Isagi, we spot Rin, who calls out to him and tells him to pass it. Looks super fierce and serious as he tells him to come over here. But as he looks at Rin, he thinks about Hugo's words as he told Isagi that if he embraces his destiny as second best, then Blue Lock can get even stronger. Just then, we move back to Isagi, who looks super manic, and something we haven't seen him like for a while, as he then tells Hugo in his head to just keep his mouth shut, and that he is going to live as number one. And with that, he sends away the ball, even with Charles trying his best to stop him. We even see Charles, who looks super shocked by this. Under this, we can see Rin, who looks absolutely furious at Isagi. Meanwhile, we see Karasu for a quick second, whose eyes are glued onto the ball, and Bachira, who is just the same as Karasu. However, he encourages the ball and tells it to go. We then see the ball going past two of the PXG players and heading right towards the goal. But then somehow, as I'm lost for words, we see Renoir, who legit catches the ball in the last second with both his hands. Renoir looks super dope, as he explains that this is the only place that it could have gone. By him, we see Isagi, who looks to be frozen in shock by all of this. The commentators are also just lost for words, as they, with all that they can, scream that he stopped it. We also see the Japanese crowd being super mad and frustrated by this. After that, we move to Isagi, who is just trying to process it. But while doing it, Hugo walks by and tells him if he doesn't see it, telling him that without his two-gun volley or his direct shot, he is below an average striker, which is an insane thing and just an insane blow to Isagi. He continues as he tells Isagi that, at this rate, Blue Lock will lose because of him. Isagi then finally looks back at Hugo, who straight up tells him that it's time to wake up, explaining to him that he as well can change. After that, he starts to aura farm like crazy as he puts his hand out to Isagi, and his aura is through the roof as he tells him to know his place and obey his destiny, which sounds so crazy. We also have Loki right by him, who has lightning in his eyes, which is super dope. We then move to Isagi, who has no idea what to say, as he just looks stunned. Under him, it's his best buddy Bachira, who thinks that there is no way. Under Bachira, it's Hiiori, who wonders to himself what they are going to do now. We then have Rin, who lets out a little annoyance sound towards Isagi, and we also have Ego under him. However, it seems like the thing that is going through all of their heads is that they can no longer use Isagi. However, someone who I doubt is sharing that thought is Karasu, who we can see is starting to fire up, and he looks super ready as he says, "Suitability and destiny." We then get to his eyes, which looks insane. Like, I don't know if we have ever seen Karasu look this dope, but he then says, "The world's best second best." And this is crazy because there is so many ways he could be interpreting it. Personally, my thought process is that Karasu will become like the Hugo for Blue Lock. He will accept that he will also be like Hugo and become a second best player, and someone who is right by the number one player as their equal, but not the number one, you know, all that thing that Hugo was talking about in the last few chapters. But I feel like Karasu, with this new kind of realization, will be the key to win this game, as he will understand that he needs to go up one gear and really give it his everything, and become someone who can be the number two to most likely Isagi, but probably also Rin. He will just become the lifeguard of the team. That's the wrong way of saying it, but I can't really think of the word that I'm looking for. I guess you could just call him the final puzzle piece though. Anyway, that's what I feel like is going to happen. But what do you guys think that Karasu is going on about? Also, I feel like he will stop their next attack and not letting them score their second goal. Now for some news, as I can announce that there is no break next week, which is just the greatest news that I'm waiting for each week, as that's so wild. Anyway, the next chapter will be called Transformation, which is super interesting, and I feel like it will be heavily tied to Karasu, and I feel like he might come up with the idea to just relive the team. But there is no doubt in my mind that the next chapter will be Karasu focused, and we will see him shine a ton. So we Karasu fans, we are eating good. Anyway, I don't have that much else. As overall this chapter was really good in my opinion. I don't want to place it too high since I feel like the next one will be absolutely crazy. But I would give it an 8, which is still super high, I know, but it was very solid. But please let me know down in the comments how you would rate this chapter and what your thoughts are for the next one. Anyway, if you like Blue Lock and videos like this, then I would highly suggest you subscribe to this channel, and while you are at it, leave a comment and a like, as it helps out with the algorithm a ton. And if you are curious to see another video of mine, then please watch the video that will be popping up on the screen now. Anyway, thanks for watching and have a great day. Bye.